Have you ever had a great idea and thought to yourself, that should be a law? Well, as a citizen of the state of Maine, you can propose ideas to your state representatives, and if enough people agree, it just might make it into the law books. That's what happened for the Brewer Community School third graders, who thought that Maine lobster ought to be recognized as one of the official symbols of the state of Maine. Their efforts in 2016 led to the passage of the state law that recognizes lobster as the official state crustacean. How did their idea make it all the way to Maine's law books? Let's look at the process, from when the students first came up with the idea all the way through to the day the governor signed it into law.
Did you know the chickadee is Maine's state bird?
Yeah, and the insect is the honeybee.
The white pine is the state tree.
Well, of course it is. We're the pine tree state.
Yeah, but where's the Maine lobster? I don't know, it looks like the lobster isn't official at all.
Hey, it says here that other states have an official crustacean, but we don't.
We should do something about that!
The honor of being an official state symbol can only be granted through the Maine State Legislature. To make the Maine lobster the official crustacean of the state of Maine, you'll have to go through the legislative process.
Let's do it!
The legislature is a group of people chosen by the voters to represent us in the lawmaking process. It's made up of two groups of representatives who get to vote on the laws, the House and the Senate. All the laws we know today, like stopping at a stop sign when you travel in a car, began as ideas just like yours. For your idea to become a law, we first must find a legislator who will sponsor it.
Hello, Representative Peter Lightford. We have a great idea to make lobster the official crustacean of the state of Maine.
Would you sponsor our idea so it can become a Maine law?
That's a great idea. Maine lobster is recognized as a delicacy around the world and is a major part of our economy. I'll be happy to sponsor your idea, and I bet a few of my fellow legislators will sign on too.
Representative Lightford, as a member of the House of Representatives, took the students' idea to the reviser of statutes, who turned the idea into a bill. A bill is simply a written explanation of the idea in proper legal form. The bill gets a special number and title so you can follow it through the lawmaking process. The lobster bill was deemed LD 1609, an act to designate the Maine lobster as the state crustacean. LD stands for legislative document. Representative Lightford was right. Other legislators were also interested in sponsoring the lobster bill, so they signed on too. Representative Arthur Archie Vero, Senator Kim Rosen, and Representative Tory Cornfield. Once a bill is written, it is referred to one of the 17 joint standing committees. These are groups of just a few legislators, since it's easier to discuss ideas in smaller groups. Each committee considers bills that pertain to certain areas of interest, such as fish and wildlife, education, and criminal justice. The lobster bill was sent to the State and Local Government Committee because it pertains to an official state symbol. Members of the public are invited to speak to the committee to share their opinions too. The Brewer students did just that, visiting Augusta to tell the committee why the lobster should be deemed the state crustacean.
Good afternoon, folks. This is the Committee on State and Local Government. We're back in session, and we'll now move forward with LD 1609. An act to designate the Maine lobster as the state crustacean.
Good afternoon. My name is Annabelle. The lobster is very important to our state. Did you know that Maine produces the most lobsters? Thousands of Mainers make a living in the lobster industry. The Maine lobster contributes more than $1 million to the state's economy every year. That's a lot of money and surely makes the lobster worthy of being our official state crustacean. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Reese. Maine is known around the country and the world for its delicious lobster. I hope you vote yes for our state's most famous crustacean. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Natalie. Our third grade began the school year learning about the state of Maine. We are very surprised to learn that the lobster was not an official Maine state symbol. We hope you agree that our bill should become a law. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Isaac. Maine does not have a state crustacean yet. People come from all around the world to eat our lobster. The Maine's lobster deserves special recognition. We would be so proud if you could help us make the lobster Maine's official state crustacean. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Molly. There are other states with state crustaceans. Louisiana has the crayfish, Maryland has the blue crab, and Oregon has the Dungeness crab. Who even knows what that is? We think the Maine lobster is more famous than all the other state crustaceans. Thank you.
Committees listen to the public comments and then have their own meeting called a work session and make a decision. They may recommend the bill to pass without changes, with changes, or not to pass at all. In the case of the lobster bill, the students successfully convinced the committee that the lobsters should be deemed a state crustacean, and the bill passed unanimously without changes. That means every single committee member voted for it. The bill then goes on to all the members of the House and Senate with a recommendation of ought to pass from the committee.
LD 1609 is here to make the Maine lobster the official state crustacean. It is recommended for passage.
I vote yes, as it is. Lobstering contributes $1 billion to the state economy each year.
Add Maine shrimp to that too, and I'll agree to vote yes.
I vote yes, as it is.
Me too.
Yay!
Yay!
It's a vote.
LD 1609 is here to make the Maine lobster the official state crustacean. It is recommended for passage.
I think there should be a time limit on the lobster holding that honor.
I vote yes, as is.
We have too many symbols already. What about the Maine potato?
Yay!
It's a vote.
Each bill has a first and second reading in the House and Senate to give members time to think about it and discuss it. If the House and Senate can't agree, the bill is sent to a committee of conference. This is a group of 3 legislators from the House and 3 from the Senate who all voted in favor of the bill. They get together to find out what they can change to get the bill passed. The state crustacean bill was very popular and did not require a committee of conference, as it passed in both the House and the Senate. The next step is engrossment, which is when the final description is written with any changes the legislators agreed upon. Finally, the bill is placed on a list of bills that are ready for final enactment. If both the House and Senate vote for that final version, the bill is sent to the governor for his or her official signature, so the bill becomes Maine law.
Governor, here is LD 1609 to make lobster the official state crustacean. We've passed it, and we hope you'll sign it into law.
This looks great. I agree. This should become Maine law. This will now be known as Chaptered Law Number 426. Now the lobster has found its place alongside the other official symbols of the great state of Maine.
Sometimes the governor doesn't like a bill and does not sign it. This is called a veto. He or she sends it back to the legislature with a message of why he or she objects to the bill. If the legislature still wishes to pass the bill into law, it needs a 2/3 vote of both the House and the Senate to override the objection of the governor, which is more votes than they needed to pass it the first time. If a bill doesn't make it through to become law, it can be brought back at another time to go through the process again. And that's how Maine laws are made.